Today's Philadelphia Eagles Now is sponsored by Kanzuri. You can get 15% off on their height-boosting shoes using the promo code CHAT at kanzuri.com/chat. We'll tell you more about them coming up around the bend. As for what we're discussing on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, over the last couple of days, we've talked about players the Eagles could trade for. We've talked about players who the Eagles could cut. How about some players who the Eagles could trade on this roster to get some good value back if they believe those players don't really have a role on this football team, but could go somewhere else and have a bigger role elsewhere? Before we dive into this list, name a player that you think the Eagles could trade. Just give me a name down below in the comment section right now. Treat it like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line, but we're here kicking it live on YouTube. Trade candidate number 1, Rashaad Penny. Yes, Chase, I know. He just signed that deal in NFL free agency. I really like his ability. When he's been able to stay on the field, Rashaad Penny has been a productive running back in this league. The only thing is, hasn't been upright and healthy and intact so far to start his career since being a first-round pick out of San Diego State. What you can't deny is the talent for Rashaad Penny and why he could get traded at some point. If another team really needs a running back, let's say if they suffer a lot of injuries at that position, Penny has all the talent in the world. He can be your lead back. He just needs to stay healthy. And if you were to trade Rashaad Penny away, are you able to survive with the running backs who would be left on the roster? I think the answer to that is yes. DeAndre Swift, he's a really good player. The Philadelphia native who went to St. Joe's Prep is going to be able to display that this year. Kenneth Gainwell was also awesome in the playoffs. He was the most productive running back in the playoffs last year. Look at the numbers. And then Boston Scott as a backup complimentary back, he's always been a valuable asset on this Eagles offense. So for Kenneth Gainwell, I think he's due for a big year. I think DeAndre Swift is due for a big year as well. Can Gainwell's role expand as Miles Sanders left, even though DeAndre Swift is here? I think so. The Eagles clearly like what he can do. Can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit, out in the flat, on some of those bubble screens. 53 carries last year. I think that he showed in the playoffs that he can be a better running back than that and can get a larger workload and be very productive. I'm not sure he's a 3-down guy because he's a little bit slight with his frame, but that's okay because you have other running backs on this team who can also be very productive, like DeAndre Swift. You look at what he's done in his first 3 years in the league, contract year, motivated to really ball out to get that next payday, which sometimes is rare for a running back trying to get that second deal. Average yards per carry, very good, and his catching ability is really going to excite a lot of Eagles fans out there. Trade candidate number 2, a player who we've talked about a little bit here on the show about getting dealt, and that is Quez Watkins. I've been waiting for Quez to break out, and I'm rooting for Quez to have a really good season because if he's able to do that, he's going to get paid, and he's had some nice moments as a Philadelphia Eagle. He just hasn't put it all together. But behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and potentially Olamide Zaccheus after that signing, could another team give up a lot for Quez to the Eagles' liking? And then he can go there and have a larger role within that offense to help him get paid at some point in the future. The Eagles have a very good wide receiving core. And Quez Watkins might be on the outside looking in. Every team also in the National Football League covets vertical speed. They want a burner. They want a guy in which the safety always has to worry about you over the top, and sometimes you have to shield that safety to that side of the field. And of course, that is important and valuable to what the Eagles want to do when you have A.J. Brown and you have Devontae Smith. But I'm telling you right now, Olamide Zaccheus, who like DeAndre Swift, went to St. Joe's Prep, can be a very viable number 3. I actually think the Eagles have upgraded at wide receiver 3 from last year because I think Zaccheus is better than Quez, and then Quez has upgraded wide receiver 4 because he is better than Zach Pascal. More trade candidates coming up right around the corner, but first, check out these shoes right here. Really fresh, and what's cool about them, athletic shoes, but also Kanzuri, today's sponsor, has dress shoes as well. They have these built-in height-boosting elements to them where you can look a little bit taller for your significant other out there if you're a little bit insecure about that height. The best part about it is you can get up to 45% off using our promo code CHAT. What, Chase? Are you for real? Yes, I would never lie to the homies. Are you tired of feeling insecure about your height? Kenzuri makes shoes that can add up to 2.8 inches to your height discreetly. Women get heels, makeup, push-up bras. Why can't men and the fellas get a confidence boost as well? Kenzuri shoes, not only height boosting, but also stylish and comfortable as we're showing you here. They're not grandpa's Velcro shoes. Come on, that's not going to help you spit game. You know what will, though? Fashionable shoes that can receive compliments even without the height increase. The height insoles integrated into the shoes, making it the ultimate height hack. For a limited time only, Kenzuri offering our viewers an exclusive discount of 15% on top of their up to 30% site-wide discount. How do you get that deal to apply? All you have to do, use the code CHAT at kenzuri.com/chat to get that 45% off. Don't wait any longer. Upgrade your shoe game as well as your confidence now with Kenzuri. Next trade candidate, Derek Barnett. Entering the final year of his contract, Derek Barnett is a player who I do believe hasn't necessarily shown what he's fully capable of doing. Has he been a little bit of a bust since being a first-round pick? He broke Reggie White's sack record at Tennessee. Yeah, he's been a little bit underwhelming. But I do think that Derek Barnett has good football left in the tank. Teams are always starved for pass rushers. And the Eagles are extremely deep along the defensive line. Barnett has a lot of ability. And what if I told you that his numbers in his first 6 years were very similar to Brandon Graham's numbers? Remember the chaos and the drama around Brandon Graham? The Eagles took him out of Michigan over Earl Thomas, and everybody wanted a safety. Everybody wanted Earl Thomas. To start his career, Earl Thomas was arguably the best safety in the NFL. Brandon Graham was a little bit inconsistent with his production. He got a little bit banged up. The sack numbers weren't there. How this story has turned. Earl Thomas has gone nutty in a bedroom with his brother. Brandon Graham is still playing, and Brandon Graham has turned into a Philadelphia Eagles hero, a guy who is a franchise icon, a guy who, if the Eagles didn't have him as far as their locker room culture, it wouldn't be the same. He has developed into one of the best Eagles of all time. Now, over the first 6 years for BG, got off to a little bit of a slow start. 80 games as compared to Derek Barnett's 65, because Barnett tore his ACL last year, so he missed all that time. But look at these similarities in sacks. Brandon Graham, with 15 more games played, only had 2 more sacks than Derek Barnett. Quarterback hits, 76 for DB, 43 for BG. Hurries, 92 to 179. That's always been Brandon Graham's forte. He's also really good against the run. But tackles for loss, Derek Barnett's been pretty good in that category as well, 38 to 36. I make this comparison not just because they're both first-round picks, got off to a sluggish start to start their NFL careers. They were labeled busts. I make this comparison most importantly because they have very similar playing styles. They are just pure defensive ends, old school brute force guys who don't have an array of pass moves. Sometimes they beat you with that bull rush. They beat you with that quick step off the line of scrimmage. They are pass rush technicians. And I think that Derek Barnett can surprise a lot of people this year. Now, of course, with Derek Barnett, there are a lot of penalties that come into play, which are problematic, but we can jinx that together here. Like the video so that Derek Barnett will stop committing penalties, because that's one thing that's held him back, and that's a big reason why people have grown tired of him. Another trade candidate here to round out the show. Appreciate all of you for watching, by the way. Greedy Williams at cornerback. Him and Rashaad Penny, 2 acquisitions for Philadelphia this offseason, but the Eagles are deep at running back. They're also deep at the cornerback spot. Why Greedy could get dealt. Greedy has pedigree. He had a solid 2021, second-round pick out of LSU in 2019. Had a sporadic 2022. That Browns defense was a disaster, and they fired their defensive coordinator. I think he suffered from a lack of confidence. You know what the Eagles instill? Confidence. Culture. You know what the Browns don't do? Have a good culture. That's why they have 1 winning season since the early, 1990s. Teams are hungry for cornerbacks too, just like the Eagles always are. And could Greedy start somewhere on the outside as compared to maybe being a backup on the outside or even a backup in the slot? I think the Eagles pretty set in this secondary. It's going to hinge a lot on the pass rush that they can generate up front because, look, if the quarterback doesn't have time to survey the field, to go through his progressions, to pick you apart, then that makes the back end's job a little bit easier. Name a player the Eagles could trade. We listed a few on today's show. Did I miss one? Did I include one that you agree with? Let me know. Share your thoughts down below, and do not forget to subscribe right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now.